Hello, everyone. Welcome to this week's edition of the Women's Space here on Civic Space TV. I am your host for today, Kirabo Marion. This week, we would want to dive into Uganda's economy and the opportunities and challenges that women face in our economy. So we have had quite, I would say, a chaotic week. We seem to be in an economic crisis where prices of commodities have gone up, and there is a lot of talk about our economy, what it survives on, coffee deals flying all over the place. So today we want to dive into that. What is the state of our economy? What are the opportunities for women? What are the challenges? And how can we find solutions to these challenges? To help us with today's issue, we have our lovely panel of incredible women. I will let them introduce themselves.
Hello, viewers. My name is Caroline Lilly Ocanda. I'm an entrepreneur based in Arua.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Carol, for having us. Yes.
My name is Nyabuhara Julian. I'm an entrepreneur and the ED of Uganda Women in Trade and Manufacturing. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for letting us tap into your minds on this issue. So I will start with, what is the state of Uganda's economy? Many people talk about these fiscal policies, these economic policies, but break it down to a layman. What is the state of Uganda's economy in particular? And what is the place of women within that economy? I think I'll start with you, Julian.
Thank you, Marion. The Ugandan economy currently is not favoring the person at the lowest level of the economy. It is not doing very well. As you're all aware, we have an issue of prices going high.
Yeah.
And the moment you have prices of basic commodities going up, then you're getting into a crisis. I do not know the percentage of our inflation now.
Yes.
And how it's moving up. But I know things are not doing well. If you have issues with fuel at the end of the day affects all commodities, because fuel facilitates the mode of transport. Yes. Fuel facilitates production. Yes. Most of the people who are doing production, some use fuel.
Yes.
Fuel with basic prices of basic commodities like soap, basic commodities like cooking oil. This cooking oil, for example, is a key commodity in the catering industry, and the catering industry is key. So the state of the economy is not that good for someone who is at the low end.
Yes, yes.
The consumer, especially. It is all going back to the consumer, and they are the most affected. So we are saying that I don't know what government can do, and I don't know what government is planning to do, but I look at it as if we are heading into a crisis. And as women are the biggest consumers. Women are the biggest, they are the home managers. They are the biggest, they are a very big percentage in the business community. Yes. So as women, we are coming out as a voice for the women, to talk for the women, but we think it's not good. And we are waiting on government to give us a practical solution, either long-term or short-term, but give Ugandans hope that something is going to get better, or these prices are going to come down for one reason or the other.
Okay.
Yes.
Over to you, Caroline. People, when we talked about, and you remember the financial crisis, so I think was around 2009. Most people claim that it particularly did not affect Africans so much, or Ugandans, because we have the cashless economy, So the inflation and the devaluation of the currency really did not affect us so much. But now we are in, like we've said, we're in another financial crisis right after COVID. for the people of Arua, do you think that is true? That these things of inflation that do not affect the village, the peasant farmer who gets most of his produce, from the land. When he wants milk, he goes to his cattle. When he wants, let me say, sorghum, when he wants cassava, he goes to his garden. So most of the time, he's not handling money per se. The only reason that he goes to the shop is to buy soap, for example. But food, everything, he's self-sufficient. Is it really true? Is it that's the picture that some economists will want to paint?
Thank you so much, Marion. I want to talk based on the perspective of the women at the grassroots.
Yes.
This is a woman who is virtually doing everything for the family. She is the one in the garden. The man will only come in to dig if she's lucky. And then when it comes to weeding, when it comes to harvesting, when it comes to threshing, we are so much into sim in Arua. I'm going to talk on that. And when it comes to even carrying it to the market, it's still the woman. And then when it will come to receiving the money, when it's being sold, that is where the man comes in. So the women are so much affected. They're being used. And they don't understand. Most women don't actually understand they're being used. They think they're actually supporting the family. And at the end of the day, this man will use this money to marry another woman. And this woman will be suffering with her children, with whom she has been working on this produce all this time, the whole value chain, apart from selling it. So this economy has actually affected the women most. They are heavily affected, and you find the women have no access to land. The land doesn't belong to the women. The land belongs to the man. From your home, where you come from, they'll tell you this land belongs to the boys. And then your land is in your husband's place. From the husband's place, the husband will tell you this land belongs to him. So the woman is left anywhere. Then that brings us now to the aspect of getting access to finances. They'll tell the woman, you bring security. This woman doesn't have land. How is she going to access that facility? It becomes very difficult. So women are heavily affected, and the women at the grassroots are struggling with the economy. It's the woman who's washing utensils. It's the woman who is washing clothes for the family. It's the woman who is using soap. And now soap is 7,000. Where does this woman get this money for buying all these things? The woman uses maybe paraffin in the house for lighting the house. We're talking of a rural woman who doesn't have electricity. She needs paraffin. Paraffin is now the price of fuel of those days. Paraffin used to be the cheapest fuel in the stations, but now it is very expensive. An ordinary person gets it hard to afford. So where are we going with all this? And what are we thinking of the women in the rural setting with all these prices going up?
Yeah, but I wanted you to bring out that, is it true that the peasant farmer can be self-sufficient? Like the inflation does not affect the peasant farmer, like some people would want to say. That if the price of let me say cassava goes up, he is not necessarily affected because he has his garden of cassava. That's some argument that others say that you see, the reason why we are not bad as the West when these financial crises happen is we still have our gardens to rely on. Is that necessarily true?
No, that is not. As I said earlier, it's not only the cassava, the simsim, the beans that in the field that these people depend on. They need medicine.
Yes.
They have to pay for it.
Yes.
They need soap. Yes. As I said, they need paraffin. All that needs money. They sell these things to get these other items which do not come from their fields. So definitely it affects them.
Thank you. Julian, so a lot of reasons, left right arguments, around the economy, and but particularly the most controversial issue. I wouldn't say controversial, but very argumentative. People have different opinions about it, irrespective of whether they are economists or not. The issue of high prices, like you mentioned, and that is the biggest challenge right now when it comes to our economy. But the reason behind it, there's always a reason for inflation. When we were in the COVID crisis, they said it was the truck drivers who had not gotten their vaccination cards, had not gotten vaccinated. So they could not allow them into the country with all these goods. And some people even asked, but what are they importing? What are they importing that we do not have? If we're talking about, truck drivers should not be the reason why matoke is up, because matoke, the argument is that the things they're bringing into the country are things that are not here. So we could have those arguments fire. When the pandemic ended, people then started saying, oh, it's the Ukraine war, oil prices have gone up, and therefore with them, the cost of transport has also gone up, and so on and so forth. But also remember that the prices of oil were already up even before the Ukraine war. So people are quite confused. What is the real issue? What is causing the prices to actually go as high as they have gone?
If you read extensively, it's not only in Uganda. The prices of commodities have gone up
everywhere
globally. So I do not know what is happening globally, but we cannot know the issues that are happening everywhere. Because if a barrel of oil goes up, then automatically, even us, when we are getting our oil, our fuel, it will automatically be expensive. So I think there is something that is happening. We are all not putting our fingers. Even if you listen to the president, nobody's has been able to identify the actual reason why prices are going up. Though everybody's using Ukraine war and the Russian war as an excuse, as a cover or as an excuse, but even in the US, they tell you that prices are going up for basic commodities. So we are saying, whatever it is, probably it's a global issue, but whatever it is, our leaders, global leaders, trying to find a solution as soon as possible before we get into a financial global crisis.
Yes.
That is what we are trying to say.
Yes.
Because if it was a Ugandan crisis, we would say, okay, Uganda, as a president, we need a solution. What's the solution? What's the problem? But you see how Kenyans are lining up for fuel. Basic commodities are very expensive in Kenya. If you read extensively, it's a global issue. But what we are requesting our leaders is, let's have citizens need a solution. They need hope. They need to be assured that things will be okay as soon as possible. You are asking Cara about the issue of inflation not affecting people on the grassroots level. My dear, for example, this week we are going to pay school fees. Every Ugandan is going to be paying school fees. So you cannot tell me, because we have a cashless economy in the rural areas. For us, the time we grew up, our fathers, we used to get the milk from cows. We used to get the bananas from the plantation. It was of less times when cash was being used. But now things are changing. How many things are changing? So we are saying that whatever the government is planning, let solutions be found as soon as possible. Or let's think of alternatives of some of the things. We are lucky that the dollar for longest time, by the way, the dollar has been stable.
Yeah.
So and I understand the reason is because we have less imports. We are doing less importation.
Kudos to us.
Kudos to Bubu. I don't know whether Bubu is doing a good job. Yeah, so I think Bubu is beginning to do a good job But I think that's all because of the effects of COVID also.
Okay.
You know, there is something I always say is that every bad thing always comes out with positives. There are positives that come out of it. So maybe if after COVID, people realized we could actually do without these things, because we did without them anyway for some good time. So I think people are beginning to find alternatives, and that will work for us
in the long
in the long run. And people need to understand that we've come out of a crisis for 2 years. The global economy has come out of a crisis. So probably we are beginning, these prices are coming, are the after effects of that long crisis. Maybe we are not putting our fingers on the exact reason, but maybe those are the after effects of the shutdown of the economy for after 2 years. So let's give our governments time to sort themselves out. But as citizens, we request for a solution in the short term. Otherwise, things are not looking good.
They are not looking good indeed. But just to pick where Julian has stopped, Carol, what do you think? So, and maybe to give you a case study. So recently, Uhuru Kenyatta of Kenya decides to increase the minimum wage as a way to cushion Kenyans from the economic financial crisis that they are facing right now. And like Julian has said, people are asking for solutions. What is your solution as a government? Yes, it's a global financial crisis. Perhaps we have been in a lockdown for two years. The global economy practically collapsed during that time. And so we are trying to pick ourselves up. But as a government, you owe us a duty, just like other governments owe their people, and they are doing that. We have seen in the US them getting economic reliefs for small businesses, so that people can get their feet back on the ground. What has, first of all, the Ugandan government done for us, and also particularly the women? You could tell us about that. But also, are these particular solutions workable solutions? Because we keep on seeing this government putting circles, let us sow a women's fund and what. But who benefits from these things? Why are they not helping women, or are they helping women? Maybe we just don't have the statistics to see that actually they are helping women. But why are these things failing, or perhaps not having the impact? Are they there anyways?
Thank you so much, Marion. Actually, I must appreciate the government that they're trying to do something for the women. But how realistic is it? For example, there's a Nyabuhara now in a place. How many women have accessed it? And how much is it? You want women to grow, and then you are giving women groups like 30 women groups an amount of 30 million, and each group there are 30 women. If you do your mathematics well, a woman will end up with maybe even 150,000. What can that money do to a woman's business? I think something should be done. Something better can be done. It's not yet late, and I'm sure if they bring the stakeholders together and they allow them get a better means of disseminating this money, it will be a better thing. And then there's UDB. They have been going around. UDB is there. UDB has gone to different places. It has gone to districts. It came to Arua. We met them. But I don't see anything moving on. They have tried, but it's not moving anywhere. People are stuck. So I see there seems to be a gap. Whatever they are not doing, or whatever they are doing wrong, I think should be corrected. Because people are getting desperate. People have been down for a very long time, and they need facilities. You cannot start exciting people and then all of a sudden you make people lose hope. So I think UDB is in a good place to do something, but they can do better. They should get down to people. They should get to understand what exactly the problem is. Why are things not working well? Why are people not accessing these facilities? What are we not doing right? How can we do better? They still have time to do that, and I know they can do it. Yeah.
In terms of stakeholders and accessibility, they will tell you that, but we talked to your LC1 chairpersons, we went to the grassroots, we talked to your councillors maybe, and then we also went to your RDCs. What do you want us to do for the other people who are handling these things, They are the grassroots. Now you want us to also come from wherever we are, maybe in our offices, and then hand over directly. You want the president to come down and be the one to give out money. What would you say to that when they say that we have actually engaged the communities through their political heads or the heads of their constituents?
Yeah, they have done all that, but have the people actually received what they are supposed to receive? That is actually the question they should ask themselves.
And
if they are not receiving, what is it? You see, if they have not received, what is it that is not right? They should get to the bottom of it. Something is not right. Because now, you talk of Emyoga to the women and the groups, the youth, and then people are getting money for what even they don't know what to do with this money. People are not being trained. Just like this money for the youth last time and even for the women. My thought is that let these people be trained in some skills. Let them identify some enterprises. Then they're given skills along that line. Then they'll put that money to better use. But you just come and you give money. People will think it's free money, and yet it's not. So let them have a reason to get this money and put it in the right place, and it should be properly supervised. It's not just leaving the money there. They identify the enterprise and they say, okay, this enterprise is there. So and so has selected this enterprise and we're putting so much money in this enterprise. And we follow it up. There are people at the local level who can do that. They can make those follow-ups. And I'm sure if they do it that way, this money will not go to loss. Now people they're failing to recover the monies they gave to the youth just because it was given to youth without plan. Yeah.
Julian, I'll go to you and to dive deeper in what we're discussing with Carol. What do you think the issue is, particularly why these things do not exactly work? She has talked about corruption. She has talked about the fact that government doesn't seem to have a plan, although they will tell you that they have a strategic plan of 5 years, That on the face of it appears to be a plan, but Kara has talked about how they're giving people who are not skilled, but then government will also tell you they have put in place skill in Uganda, to help these young men and women, gain some skills. So what is not happening? What is it that is not? Because they seem to be doing everything, but also nothing.
No, I think, Carol, to add on what Carol has said, is when governments are planning, putting in place these programs, I do not know the procedure they use. Do they involve the stakeholders, the actual beneficiaries to plan? Do they involve either people who sit in offices and plan for business, people who are in business? I do not know how they do that. For us, we get to hear the president read out these programs. This is what is going to happen this year. In these 5 years, we are going to do this. In this next 5 years, this is what we are planning to do for the women. This is what we are planning to do for the youth, which is okay. And if you listen from the president's voice, you can hear it's from goodwill. He has tried. But I think the problem is in the implementation. Implementation. How do we implement these programs? For example, like UDB. If you walk to UDB Bank, and I have worked there myself, the process, the reception, let's start from the reception. Is it welcoming for the business community? Someone has been working in Chikubo for the past 20 years. They are not used to some of these environments. When you walk in, what's the reception? Someone tells you to sit at the reception for over 20 minutes, 30 minutes. You're waiting for someone. That's the beginning of the fading of the program. And then they hand you over this list of requirements. The first requirement is you have to have collateral land title. How many women can access this? How many women have, for example, if my business wants 100 million, how many can access these titles of over 500 million? There are other programs that are beneficial to women that need small capital, market women that do this small, who do cross-border trade, women who do vending. Some of these, there are finances that can really actually fund them. But then how are we enlightening these women to access these programs? The parish development model, they are releasing, for this financial year, they are releasing 17 million for each parish.
Very little
to
money.
me, I think that's very little money.
Yeah.
That's very
I
little
agree with
money.
you.
Because the lowest we can give to a woman is around 100,000. But how many women are in a parish? And remember, this money is for the whole parish, involving men, involving women,
yes.
involving the youth,
Yes.
involving everybody,
Yes.
the people with disabilities.
Yes.
So everybody is looking at this 17 million. I do not know how many people. On average, a sale, a Ugandan village has over around 120 households. That's, I'm giving you the smallest, that's on average. 120 or 150 homesteads. That's one village, that's one sale. So let's multiply by how many villages are in a parish. So if we are saying that every household has to get this 17 million, I do not know. Maybe there is a way they are going to process it that every year another family will benefit, another family will benefit. But what we are trying to say is that whoever designs these programs must design programs depending on the needs of each business group and each business community. If it is women, let that program reflect the needs of that business community. That's mainly my concern. But otherwise, all these programs, that's why you see, they will tell you that the women fund, most of these finances were released 5 years ago. This is first-hand information that I have. Was released to banks, different banks, 5 years ago. And bankers will tell you that that money was not touched for the past 5 years.
Wow.
They had to return that money to Ministry of Finance.
Wow.
Because nobody applied for that money. I want you to do your research very well. Most of these, they accessed this money, it is sat in the banks, and none of Ugandans was applying for that money. So after 5 years, now they release the Myoga funds, and it finds the same money. And when this money is still, that's when they demanded that most of these financial institutions return back the money. So you wonder, for the 5 years, you mean there was no business person who wanted that money? This is first-hand information from bankers. They tell you, we've been sitting with this money, and none of the people is coming to apply for this money. Because, and when you ask further, and you inquire, why don't you lend out this money? They tell you that the terms and conditions, people who send the money to these banks, either Ministry of Finance or Bank of Uganda, the terms they put is that the banks can also not afford to lend out this money. So we do not know whether these programs are grocery programs, cosmetic programs, to show people that we are trying to do something, but actually, when the work is not being done.
Okay. Thank you for that extensive analysis. Thank you so much. Now, I want to dive into another issue that is very controversial right now to do with the economy. So we know that agriculture is the backbone of our economy, and we have survived for the longest time since we became this colonial construct called Uganda on cash crops. And that is to say coffee, cotton, at one time vanilla, there was tea, these different cash crops that exchange hands. You will go to the villages. For us in Kasese, we have coffee and cotton, for example. I know that in West Nile you have coffee also, There is tea also in the West. So most peasant farmers find that actually most peasant farmers are like small scale, coffee cash crop growers. But in the recent past, we have found that slowly some of these crops have started phasing out. People don't grow them anymore. People all of a sudden stopped growing vanilla. Vanilla was used to be a how can I say, trendy crop. There was a time when it was trending really, really, really. I remember in my village where everyone was into vanilla. People had even started having dogs in their farms to keep away vanilla thieves, there were incidences where they would just have pangas and people would not sleep guarding their vanilla. It was like gold, There was cotton when nightil was still a thing, And now there is coffee. The coffee deal. We all know that this investor called Vinci, is it?
Not
Vinci.
Pilat.
All we know is that he or she is Italian, And all of a sudden, this person wants monopoly over our coffee. And people are saying, but you see, you gave the monopoly over vanilla to someone else and you run us out of business. Now, coffee, which is the second largest product that we export, you want to also take it away from us, Do you really want us to grow as Ugandans? Do you really want to take away the little livelihood that we have now, especially in these tough times where we are in a financial crisis, is what people are saying. We have seen the heated debates in parliament, with prominent people like Kaushenga actually going and saying, I mortgaged my whole son's inheritance in this business. If you take it away from me, you would have ruined my son's inheritance, So it's a very emotive debate. It has become a very emotive debate, a very personal debate to people. And we just wanted to dive into that since we are talking about the economy and women. We know that most of the people who work these coffee farms are women. So, but on the other side of the debate, the government is saying that why would we broker a deal that would disadvantage Ugandans? Don't you think we have a heart for this country? Do you think that some of them have gone as far as saying, do you think that all of us in that government are dumb for us to append? Do you think that everyone in the Ministry of Finance, for example, the people who signed the deal on our behalf are dumb? So I want us to maybe Carol, take us through this thing, this coffee deal. Have you read it? At least can you highlight for us the most controversial pieces? What do you think is the problem? Or is there no problem at all? Do you think it's all right?
Okay, thank you. I think I would say I appreciate that the deal was given to a woman.
That's a plus.
That is a plus. It's a good thing. But then, how is it going about? What are people thinking about it? People already have a very negative perspective about it.
Yes.
It's really negative that it's hitting all over. But then I would think those who have gone into this deal and those who have signed should make people understand what people have failed to understand. Maybe people are not understanding something. Maybe. That has always been my thought when these things started. What is it that we are not understanding that we should understand that they are not actually giving us out?
Yes.
You see? It will be good for them to come down to the coffee farmers
and
to tell them, you know, we are doing this, maybe even before. But now that it has happened, they have signed it off. Let them get down to the people and let them understand that all is not lost. We still have something for you, and it's for your own good. It's going to work this way, and this is how you are going to benefit. I think when people will understand that, they'll embrace it. But minus that, for sure it will be a fight. It will be a fight, and when these people will come to ground, farmers are not easy to deal with. I work with farmers. I know how they behave. When you reach farmers with things they don't understand, they just have to understand. When they don't understand, you not like it.
I think
so.
Yeah.
It's important. Let's make farmers understand what their take is in this deal. And they should understand that all is not lost. I think when we do that, it will be a good thing for us. But minus that, for sure, farmers will end up so frustrated that they'll get other means of doing things which will not be good for us all.
Yeah, because if you take away, if people feel like you're threatening their livelihood, they usually react badly.
Sure.
Because where will they get what to eat?
Yeah.
So, Julian, what is that thing we need to understand?
No, I think it's like Caro has said, it's simple. I think I've not heard people talk about what a farmer is going to benefit from this whole deal. Because probably for a longest time, people have been complaining about the middlemen in the coffee industry. And in this deal, I've not had a discussion about the middlemen. So probably
we have one big middleman.
We have one big middleman, middlewoman. So we are trying to let's begin to listen to ourselves and look at this deal and have people explain. Let it not be political, because a farmer, politics will not bring money into a farmer's pocket. What we want to listen to is this dealer going to offer us a good, stable price of coffee? Am I assured that from January to December I'm going to get a stable price?
Yes.
Like not this year the price is down, the next year the price is up, then I'm not sure whether the coffee trees are going to pay my children's fees. So I think what farmers need to listen to, and let's get this discussion out of the mainstream media and put it down to the farmer, who actually benefits or loses out of all this. Yes, we know, if you look at the statistics of the farmers in this country, we have, I think, over 1.2 million of the main people who are doing farming, who are benefiting from the coffee industry. But those are the recorded people, the recorded farmers. How about the smallest scale farmers, coffee farmers? We know most Ugandans, almost 70% of Ugandan households have a coffee tree in their farm or in their compound or in their garden. And and coffee had got to around 5,000 per kilogram. That was a good price for a farmer. But what we want to hear as women, I'm speaking on behalf of the women. Women don't always want to follow the noise, the noise that is going around. What we want to hear is the facts. What is this dealer bringing for us on the table? If a farmer is assured of a stable price, if a farmer is assured of fertilizer, if a farmer is assured constant supply of fertilizer, if a farmer is assured that the dealer will facilitate them to give out good coffee, for example, give like drying facilities, those are the things that we should be talking about. I don't think anybody has given attention to some of those details. Are you providing us facilities to dry this coffee? in a good way? Are you providing us, ensuring that when you buy our coffee, are you paying us on time? Are you going to pay us our money on time? Then maybe at the end of the day, we shall find that the middlemen who have been purchasing this coffee have actually been cheating us. Because everybody has been talking about the middleman before. Actually, that was an issue in the coffee industry. Middlemen are cheating us, middlemen are giving us a very low price, but coffee is selling at a very high price on the upper market. Why is it that middlemen are cheating us? So now, are we saying that this one who is coming in is going to reduce it, to remove the middlemen? So to me, I think let's channel the discussion to, like Carol has said, it's already signed. The deal is already signed. So how do we handle what is on the table now? How do we ensure that as a farmer is protected? And a woman is the biggest, they are the biggest players in the farming industry of coffee. Because most women, yes, they sell 2 kilograms of coffee, they sell 5 kilograms of coffee, they sell 20 kilograms of coffee. But at the end of the day, apart from people who do farming of cows, apart from people who do sim, apart from people who do the other types of farming, the majority of Ugandans doing farming are doing coffee. But what's in the deal? What's in the nitty-gritty? I heard people are saying that they are giving this dealer free land. They are giving them tax holidays. We are saying fine. I think government saw it in their best interest to give these facilities to this woman. I'm sure they did their research. Let me hope so, that they did their research. Because, I mean, you cannot argue with government. Parliament has tried. We are waiting to see what their report is going to say. But then what we are saying is, for us, let's wait and see. Let's talk for better terms in that deal and ensure that a woman is protected, because a woman is the best beneficiary. Me, I'm speaking on behalf of the woman. And who is the biggest farmer of coffee? Apart from the few, we've had people who have dealt in coffee in this country, like people who are doing African coffee. They were the biggest exporters of coffee. They were doing tea on a large scale. So maybe the questions Ugandans are asking, why not give this deal to Uganda?
To a Ugandan, yes.
And then we are also asking, why did they fail? Those who used to deal in coffee on a big scale, they had all the opportunity. Why did they fail? Or did farmers get a better deal from them? And now we are saying, the one who is coming in, what are they offering? I think let's move our discussion to that level. Because if we keep digging in this discussion on a political level, we may not manage. But let's go to the nitty-gritty. As entrepreneurs, I'm speaking as an entrepreneur.
Okay.
What do I have to get out of this? And the after effects of the deal. And will it also go to, let me hope it doesn't move to the other industries. For example, some of us are doing tea growing. I'm a tea farmer. But in the past 1 year, and I think in the next 1 year, because we import, tea survives on fertilizer. You cannot do tea without fertilizer. It's different from coffee. Coffee, you don't need fertilizer, but for tea, you need fertilizer. And we are all aware that our fertilizer comes from Russia. So we are having issues with growing tea. I do not know what is going to happen, but we are saying let government come out and give us a platform that is going to give us better alternatives. Yes.
Okay, unfortunately, our time is fast spent. So I'll just give you time in maybe 1 minute each. You could give us your closing remarks and what you'd like the audience to know as they head into the week. Yes, Carol, I'll start with you. 1 minute, please.
Thank you very much. I want to tell us women and entrepreneurs that we shouldn't give up. The going might not be easy, especially after the pandemic, but we should have the will and we should remain focused. Thank you.
Yes.
Oh, thank you. Mine is is that Ugandan women are doing well as far as business is concerned. And we applaud you. And we applaud this government for supporting the women. They've done so much to ensure that we keep running, though more needs to be done. We are glad they've brought the Democratic Republic of Congo on board in the East African community. As women, we need to look at, we are now going to be looking at a market of over 500 million people. This is all purchasing power. We need the government to strengthen the African free trade area because that would be opening markets for our women's products.
Yes.
We need to ensure that our women's products move even from the local market, go to the regional market, even to the global market. So we are calling on the women to take advantage of the government facilities. Uganda Investment Authority. If we worked with Uganda Investment Authority, we are thinking that we should have a bargaining power and talk to Investment Authority to create a certain percentage in the industrial parks for women, specific for women. Allocate some land for women manufacturers because we have a number. Unfortunately, most of our women who are doing manufacturing, they are doing it in kitchens. Yes. They are doing it in garages. They are packaging and selling from their garages. So we need women to grow from there. Actually, our vision is creating women industrialists in this country. Let's move from the kitchen industries. Let's move from the garage industries and grow big industries. But how are we going to do that? We need government to hold our hand. Okay. I've not heard government talk about space for women in these industrial parks. And let's make our research from here and find out how many women own land in the 25 parks in this country that have been, that government is planning to allocate. But as women, we need our space there. We need our space. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, our lovely panelists for today. Thank you for dissecting the issue. I think most of our audience has gotten a picture of what the economy is, what opportunities are there, and how they can capitalize on those opportunities. Thank you, audience, for tuning in. Once again, this has been your host, Kirabo Marion, here on the Women's Show on Civic Space TV. Join us again for another episode next week. You could also follow us on our Twitter handle, our Facebook, and our Instagram. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.